Marcos Villegas here in Hollywood, California, FightHub TV. Malik, man, got to get your opinion on a few fights coming up.
Yes, let's do
One that we're all waiting for. It's going to be, I hope it's a really good fight. Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah.
How are we feeling about that one?
Well, boxing should be proud. It's very, I don't want to say like TV friendly because it depends on, which either guy, what game they come with. Concerning is Shakur going to use nothing but his legs? Is Teo going to do just enough because Shakur may offset him a bit and give him a look that he never seen before? I have Shakur winning. I think Teo, concerning explosiveness, he get it. Rapid speed, he get it. But I think when it comes to the craft and fundamentals, you have to go with Shakur. To me, he's a lot more seasoned. And plus, I just believe Teofimo, he makes mistakes to me you just can't make when you're fighting Shakur.
Like what?
You can't be overcommitting. You can't approach his offense range with your lead hand down, especially since Shakur is a southpaw. Because that means if you're orthodox and you're approaching Shakur with your lead hand down, you're actually closer to his jab hand. And we all know Shakur got one of the best jabs, especially from a southpaw standpoint. So I'm going with Shakur in that fight. But it's going to be a good fight. The card is incredible by itself. You know what I mean? We already know how the card is. We got Keyshawn on it, Jarrell Miller on it, Shushu Carrington's so it's a great card. But I'm going with Shakur for the win.
Okay, with that being said, then what does Teo got to do to win?
He has to get Shakur up. How would I say this? I don't want to just make it seem like come across as if Shakur is novice, but the times that Shakur is putting himself against the ropes, this is the time that Teofimo is going to have to depend on his explosiveness. He's going to have to depend on his offset lead right hands. He's going to have, but even doing that, everything with Teo comes off his front foot, his explosiveness, his speed, everything. So it's almost like whenever the times he gets Shakur up against the rope, he got to pick his shots well, but then after that he have to be ready to defend because with Shakur, the return is always coming. So he got to go into the offensive lane, but he have to go into it with good defense, which in my opinion, he really don't do that good when he's going into offense. He usually come in to an offense lane like with his lead hand down, coming with head movement. But I just believe when you do get closer to Shakur, he's going to have to overload with work. He's going to have to really double up with one hand. He's going to have to use his feet, bust angles, things of that nature. So,
This opening immediately frames the fight through a technical lens, setting the tone for a high-level breakdown rather than hype-driven talk. The focus here is on discipline versus explosiveness, with Shakur positioned as the more complete craftsman and Teofimo as the risk-taker who lives on athletic gifts. What stands out is the emphasis on small mistakes, lead hand positioning, overcommitting, and range control that separate elite boxers from great ones. The southpaw dynamic adds another layer, highlighting why Shakur's jab and patience could neutralize raw speed.
Me picking Shakur come across as if Teo is not as gifted as he is, but I believe he's just in with a much more gifted athlete.
Okay, given that then, does Shakur just have to fight his fight the way he normally does, or is he going to have to pull out extra? Like, do we see an extra wrinkle, extra level that Shakur needs to go to in this fight with Teo?
Yeah, I don't think it's a good idea for Shakur to work off the ropes as much as he's used to doing. I think against Teo, you're taking a chance of giving him an opportunity to get good shots off. And I also believe that Teo is a much more heavy-handed puncher than Shakur, so I think it's a danger zone for Shakur on the ropes. Now, one would say, well, why would you say that? Shakur fight pretty good off the ropes. He roll with shots, he dip under. Yeah, he does with the opposition he's been in the ring with lately. I think this is the best opponent he's fought under the lights. Teo is the best opponent that he fought, and I just think that him being on the ropes, them are the times that Teo is going to have success if those times happen. But I think if Shakur is making a circle, the Pernell Whitaker circle, if he's going to the body properly, because Shakur is to me even one of the best body punchers in the game. He has the Pernell Whitaker effect. He's so slick. People are so mesmerized from his eyes, from his feet movement, his reflexes, that sometimes they don't zone in on like, why isn't these guys he's fighting just going to him? Well, that's the same thing they used to say about Pernell Whitaker. They used to say that about Floyd Mayweather, because once you get close to him, Shakur is a very vicious body puncher, and he does good work short range when he's going to the body too. So it's going to be a great fight, man, but I'm going with Shakur all the way. I'm not even second guessing it. And I'm not saying that to knock Teo. I'm just saying, like, matchup-wise, I think Shakur can't make it the easiest fight of his career, but he can make it a lot more easier than what people is giving him credit for.
To you, what's the X factor for both in this fight?
The X factor for Shakur, to me, is distance, which he's very good at doing, with especially with his feet. Him and Usyk, they both are very good.
Probing with the jab too,
yes,
right?
Probing with the jab, keeping the distance, making short steps going back. They really don't overcommit. And with Teo, I think it's going to be. I think like in Teo last fights, I don't know the last time we've seen a Teo big knockout how we used to see, especially since he moved up in the weight class. But I think
This portion dives deeper into the chess match, shifting from prediction to responsibility. The commentary makes it clear that both fighters have narrow paths to victory, and stepping outside those lanes invites danger. Shakur's comfort on the ropes is questioned for the first time, reframing a perceived strength as a potential liability against a heavier-handed opponent. Teofimo's challenge is framed not as power, but restraint, choosing moments rather than forcing outcomes. The comparison to defensive...
This is a fight where he should go back to depending on that, not just going so powerful, but he should just pick his shots. He should punch a lot where Shakur is going to be at and not where he's at. He's going to have to cut off the ring. And to me, he really should work on not overcommitting, because overcommitting with the likes of Shakur, with the likes of Usyk, they make you pay when you overcommit. And I'm sure Shakur is dependent on that. So Teo should throw a monkey wrench in those plans and make sure he's keeping his chin behind his front knee, making sure he's keeping his lead hand up, especially going against a southpaw, because like I said, his lead hand down makes him closer to Shakur's jab. So we'll see. These things is easier said than done inside the ring. But like I said, it's a great fight, and I'm looking forward to it. I'll be there.
If the Shakur that showed up for Cepeda fights that way against Teo, what happens?
Well, take the Cepeda fight, right?
Yeah.
But don't have Shakur as much in the corner. I think Shakur wins easily. I just don't trust Shakur on the ropes, stuck in the corner against Teo. Against other fighters, I could get why he would do that, but against Teo punch selections is a lot better than any fighter that Shakur has ever fought. His speed is a lot more rapid than, to me, any fighter Shakur has ever fought. And he's the best athlete Shakur has ever fought. And he's the most explosive fighter Shakur has ever fought. So he's in the fight, definitely. But if you ask me, I'm always going to go with the guy with the best defense, the guy with the best skills, the southpaw that has a little bit of height on him. Shakur don't have short arms. So he has a lot on his side.
What happens if the Teofimo that showed up against Loma, against Josh Taylor, shows up in this fight?
That right there is what can make the fight a super fight. That's the fight that could have what it looked like on paper live up to the expectation of that. But there's no telling. But one thing we do know, we know when Teo is up against great opponents, he rises to the occasion. And we know that Shakur is out with something to prove. He want to prove that he's the best. He want to prove that he's one of the best pound for pound, and not in the lower ranks of pound for pound. Shakur really believes he's in the top 3, top 4 pound for pound, and he has the perfect stage to prove it on. He has the perfect opponent to prove it on. But Teo is not just going to accept that. Teo is going to be very stubborn, and when I say stubborn, he's going to be stubborn with his head movement. He's going to be stubborn with his feet. He's going to be stubborn with his feint game. So Shakur going to have to be on point. Teo is going to have to be on point. Boxing should be proud. This is a very, very good fight. We getting 2 young fighters in their prime, while they at the best at, I ain't gonna say that they ever going to be, but the best that they are right now. So it's a great fight.
Do we get a controversial ending to this fight, given the styles, or is it, you think it's going to be clear cut one way or the other?
I wouldn't be surprised. Max Kellerman said something the other day when we was doing the Inside the Ring show. He said he wouldn't be surprised if it's a trilogy. I could see something happening like that with their kind of styles. One is a boxer puncher, one is a pure boxer, but he can punch, which means Shakur. Like I said, he's a very vicious body puncher. It just depends on the scorecards. It depends on so many other things, but we'll see.
Yeah, I was wondering, is it the makings for a draw in this, given the style, or is Teo doesn't throw enough?
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked, because then there's at times that people think Shakur don't throw enough, or is that times people think he disengaged with his feet too much. So it's a lot of questions that we're gonna see if both guys can answer. And but as far as my pick, I'm gonna always go with the better boxer, the southpaw, the taller guy, the guy with the better defense, and in my opinion, that's Shakur Stevenson.
All right, switching gears to another fight coming up, Ryan Garcia against Mario Barrios. How do you see that one, Malik?
I have Barrios.
You have Barrios.
Yeah, I have Barrios.
You're going against the grain.
Yeah. I think Barrios is probably one of the most underrated champions in boxing. I think he's better than what the eye test says. And I just don't know how serious Ryan Garcia is taking him. But you would think, since Ryan lost to Rolly his last fight and have had so much time off, that he's going to take full advantage of this opportunity. We're going to see. But I'm going with Barrios, and I'm going with Barrios because, like I said, he's the most underrated champion in boxing. He's better than what the eye test says. And guess what? He has one of the best trainers in the world, Joe Goosen, and he has Joe Goosen assisting his corner, one of the best young trainers, Wale. And they doing some good work over there in Tengu's gym. And, you know, I like the irony of the fight. Like, Joe Goosen used to train Ryan, and now he's training Ryan's opponent. We know Joe is dangerous in these type of positions. It sounds like kinda, it's not directly on, but it reminds me of when Joe trained Diego Corrales. Oh, no, he trained Casamayor. Then Casamayor, he beat Diego Corrales with Casamayor. Then Casamayor left him. Then Diego Corrales came to Joe. Then Joe beat Casamayor with Diego Corrales. And that come from the system of Tengu's boxing gym. That come from the teaching and the drilling of Joe Goosen. And I just got a funny feeling about this fight. I'm going with Barrios, and I'm going with him confidently. We'll see.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Like, how much of a factor is it that, you know, Joe trained Ryan, and how much is that going to help Mario coming into this fight?
Yeah, well, I think it's going to help him a lot because Joe knows what he's doing. Joe knows Ryan. Barrios is a hard worker. Anthony Brady. I think I'm sorry. That's
Tony.
Tony Brady. That's his strength trainer as well. And you know, he have a great team. And from what I hear, he's a great student. He's a sponge for knowledge. All he do is listen to his team. And if you take an athlete like that and you put it against an athlete like Ryan, who's gifted, who has, you know, the twitchy, rapid speed, we all know that left hook. I'm going to always go with the more disciplined guy. I'm always going to go with the guy that I feel as though is putting the work in. I'm always go with the guy that is a sponge for knowledge, just listening to the teaching that he has in his corner. And right now, that's Barrios. But we all know what Ryan possesses. He's rapidly fast. He has that incredible left hook. He has a very good underrated jab. Ryan's jab is very good. But we're going to see if he could use all of that. But as far as my picks, I'm going with Barrios.
In terms of, like, this fight, you know, yeah, Ryan has a good amount of positives coming into it. You know, like you mentioned, you just listed them. But obviously, with any Ryan fight, the big thing is his left hook.
Yeah.
How dangerous is that in this fight against Mario, given how Mario's looked in the last few fights?
I think Ryan Garcia left hook is always a dangerous matter, no matter how his opponent has been looking, no matter who his opponent have been fighting. The kid just have one of the fastest left hooks in the history of the sport of boxing. As far as speed, getting there quick. I'm trying to think. I always say things that come across that people may don't understand, but it's coming from a perspective of studying. As far as speed and rapidly getting there with a left hook, I know guys that have harder left hooks than Ryan. I know guys that have more stronger left hooks than Ryan. Guys that really know how to, you know, get to the target with a left hook. And I'm talking all weight divisions. But as far as rapid speed in the blink of an eye getting to a target, I think Ryan Garcia may have that just covered in the whole sport of boxing. I don't know no one that could get to a target with the left hook faster than Ryan Garcia. But after a while, when so many people train for it and they know it's coming, especially at the high level, we're going to see if someone can offset that. And Joe Goosen is aware of what I'm saying about Ryan Garcia. They're training for that. So Ryan's going to have more than just a left hook, in my opinion, to beat Barrios.
Does he have more?
Yes, I think he has a very good jab. He's a bit upright sometimes.
Accurate too. I saw a stat like he's one of the most accurate guys.
Yes, I would say. Yes.
This is where the conversation escalates from tactics to legacy. By introducing best-case versions of both fighters, the discussion acknowledges the unpredictability that makes boxing compelling. The idea that Teofimo rises against elite competition injects doubt into any one-sided narrative, while Shakur's pound-for-pound ambitions raise the emotional stakes. The possibility of controversy, close scorecards, or even a trilogy reframes the bout as more than a single night. It becomes a defining chapter. This segment thrives on tension. But
we got to be fair. They always say, like, you're only as good as your last performance. And we know how Ryan looked against Rolly. And a lot of people don't rate Rolly. I do. I think Rolly is unorthodox. I think Rolly is awkward. I think Rolly is, he's deceivingly fast. I think Rolly is a very strong puncher. I think Rolly has a control game in the inside. He know how to manipulate with his forearms, know how to manipulate. So it's a lot of things that come with Rolly's system. So was I shocked when he really beat Ryan? Not like that, but I picked Ryan to win. But I really wasn't shocked when Rolly beat him, because Rolly to me is better than a lot of people give him credit for.
So you got Mario split decision. How's that fight look? That you're thinking?
I would say decision. I would be very shocked if it was a stoppage. I don't think he can stop Ryan, but I think he could fight a disciplined fight the same way Rolly did. I think he can listen to Joe Goose and give him the information. I think he can go in there and pull it off.
The final stretch shifts cleanly into a new matchup while maintaining analytical intensity. The pick against Ryan Garcia immediately challenges mainstream expectations, forcing viewers to consider preparation, discipline, and corner advantage over star power. Ryan's left hook is treated with respect, but not fear, framed as a known weapon rather than an unbeatable one. The emphasis on structure, coaching, and adaptability positions this fight as a test of maturity more than talent. Ending on a decision prediction reinforces realism over drama. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next video.